Schmidt announced Friday. Using both buyer-centric and victim-centric sting human trafficking operations.
Good morning, everybody.
Missouri and participating states were able to rescue 47 victims and sex workers and provide needed medical services to 41, the Missouri Attorney General's office said in a statement. The battles in the courts pitting red state governors against mask mandates comes down to executive authority and the length and scope of emergency declarations, according to legal expert Alan Dershowitz on Newsmax.
In a democracy, the governor, the executive, enforces the law. The executive doesn't make the law, except in cases of immediate emergency. So this was a case not about whether you can have mask mandates or not. It was a case about who gets to decide.
This is USA Radio News.
Lights out. Everybody. Matt Dillon, United States Marshal. The first man they look for and the last they want to meet. Pleasant dreams.
The greatest radio shows of all time, USA Classic Radio Theater, on these radio stations or on demand by searching USA Classic Radio Theater. USA Classic Radio Theater.
Former acting ICE Director Tom Homan speaks to the risks of terrorists trying to get through the porous southern border. Dan Naraki reports.
Since the Taliban takeover of Afghanistan, national security experts have warned that ISIS and al-Qaeda terrorists released from Afghan prisons by the Taliban could try to take advantage of the humanitarian crisis on the southern border and sneak into the U.S. Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection agents are reportedly focusing extra attention on looking for suspected terrorists among the people trying to illegally cross into the country. Former acting ICE Director Tom Homan says that the U.S. has never been more vulnerable to terrorism and tells Fox News that it's because of the situation at the southern border.
I've been saying for 2 years that this border, when it's vulnerable, it's just not vulnerable to illegal immigration. It's vulnerable to public safety threats as criminals come across. It's vulnerable to public health threats because they're releasing COVID cases. But I said from day one, it's a national security issue. Border Patrol's already arrested 17 nationals from Afghanistan this year. And look, if you look at special interest aliens, those on terror watch list, they've already arrested 5.
From the USA Radio News Ohio Bureau, I'm Dan Naraki.
Robert F. Kennedy's assassin, Sirhan Sirhan, was granted parole by a California board after spending more than 50 years in prison Friday, after 2 of his sons said they support his release, a decision that still needs to be approved by the governor. For USA Radio News, I'm Brad Bernards.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host and do not express the views of WVBF ownership or Hometown Talk Radio. Content aired on all programs are those of the host and their guests.
Good. All right. Open is playing. Perfect.
Hey, Joey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro news, here on AM 1530 WVBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
And we are live. And welcome to Middleboro in Review. Today is the 29th of August, 2021. My name is Joey Driscoll, and Dawn is arriving here in just a second, and he'll be joining us in just a moment. Here is, he approaches the mic, and let me put his mic up here, and, good morning.
On?
Yeah.
This thing on?
Good morning, Dawn. How are you?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Joey.
So, Dawn, speak for 1 second because I need to do something with one of the headphones.
Oh, boy. You gotta do something with both headphones. A little, did it rain last night, Joey? I wonder. How are you doing with the headphones there? Good. We're all right, right? Nice. Good.
Let's see if this will work.
Awesome. Yes. Okay.
So the reason we're trying to do something with the headphones is we have a guest calling in just a moment, and we are going to try to have that be loud enough so people can hear on the Facebook. The headphones are right next to the phone here. Hopefully it is loud enough because sometimes we get feedback. So we don't want that.
Yes.
Anyway, we have a phone call here in just a second. And actually the phone is ringing now. Let's take this phone call. Good morning. You are on WVBF Middleboro in Review.
Good morning. Danny Harmon. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, Danny. How are you this morning?
So far, so good.
Good morning, Danny. This is Don. How you doing today? This morning?
Don, how are you?
Not bad, not bad. I'm glad you were able to call again. We had you on February 7th, wasn't it? Super Bowl Sunday.
Yeah, Super Bowl
right?
Sunday, exactly. That's when we had you on last. We talking about all the fun, exciting things happening in Florida with the trains and rail in the winter, and now it is late summer. So thank you for coming back on and to talk with us again.
I think it was well received, that particular show we had, that because of you, because the way you speak, the way you do your films, and I've turned some of my friends onto your filming and your rail videos too, and I've watched we've done a few since we talked last. You did that the distributed power one, like you promised. That was really good, and other ones too over the course of the spring and summer. So
Yeah, the distributed power one, apparently that really rang a bell with a lot of fans, because I've had a lot of views on that one and a lot of questions from it. It's really generated more questions, I think, than it did answers, just because of the way I approached it. But yeah, that's been a real popular one.
and the other one too, the newest you did on end-to-end trains, meaning how the way they put trains together, meaning they
Why they run locomotives back to back? Yeah.
right, they put the hood side.
That was an interesting question. I got that one a lot over the last couple of years, and I thought, well, the first few times I did the question, I would be like, I don't even know what you mean. I've always seen that on freight trains. I've never not seen that. In my rail fanning days, I didn't even understand what people were talking about. But over time, I realized they were asking a very basic question about locomotives and how they're assembled on a train, and how they're running in reverse for all that time. That's a little research on that. So.
Well, if you look at it, it makes sense though. Like you said, I mean, if all they got to do is drop the cars and the other locomotives ready for the return trip. It's pretty basic. And sometimes you've done videos on how they spot cars on the industrial spurs, and you kind of look at it and you're like, how are they going to do that? And how sometimes they back the cars in and they have to undo them and then pull the ones out that they're spotting and then pulling the other ones out. And it looks confusing, but if you think about it, it's pretty simple. I mean, after you look.
That was always a fascinating aspect of railroading to me as a kid and growing up, and even learning more about railroading is when they deliver cars to customers or pick up from customers. There's what's going on there, all that back and forth. That we standing for public property, that's all we could see, and I thought it was just me that was interested in that. I thought, well, nobody else is going to be interested in that. And I did my first one of those videos. I think it was called delivering cars to small customers.
Right.
And I got a huge response from that. I mean, a huge response. I don't know. There are a lot of other people who were interested in this kind of thing, and I got a lot of comments. I love switching. Please show more switching. Please show more, car delivery, stuff like that. And as you guys know,
Oh yeah, without a doubt, yeah.
You got to get in on either private property or find a public road that runs right up against a customer, and it's it's got a clear view, and that stuff's not easy to get. And when you do get there, I set up a tripod, a camera, and all of my gear and stuff, and it raises the eyebrows of those crews sometimes. And I have to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm just doing this for YouTube. I'm just doing it for rail fans. And, I'm just doing rail fan stuff. I'm not doing news or any kind of investigative journalism or any of that stuff. So I try to put those guys' minds at ease.
You make a lot of sense, because any property owners or business owners who are getting those rail cars are wondering, especially if they're dealing with chemicals, chemical tankers as far as anything.
The chemical companies do not like you photographing or shooting video on their property.
No.
Any of their operations. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them a bit.
Right. But it seems like you know every square inch of the track as far as every access road, because I'm sure, especially when you film around home, because I like those videos, because like you said, you don't sometimes have the time or the gas money to go 200 miles, because Jacksonville, Crawford, all that area is like your ground zero as far as you filming, where you get the 3 railroads coming through, and but I like the stuff you do locally, the home stuff, the spur tracks, the dead ends, and then you throw an Amtrak on the Navy Y every once in a while, and they got to back it in. So I mean, I think a lot of people like that tight roundabout, sort of like a choreographic orchestra in a way, if that makes sense to you.
Well, it does, and that's kind of the aspect, or the angle of attack that I've always approached this. It's not just, here's a train, and now here's another train, and here's another train. I said, what are these trains doing? What's their job? Where are they going when they get to where they're headed? What are they doing? The difficulties, the minutia of handling cars, passing trains out on the main line, that kind of stuff. That's the stuff that really I like. It's not so much the locomotives or the foreign power and all that stuff, but I realize a lot of folks love that stuff, and I try to get that whenever I can. I include it in my videos. It's not my main target out there, because so many other folks kind of take care of that. That aspect of it is the foreign power and unusual locomotives and that kind of stuff. Because I know that's what really motivates a lot of rail fans. That kind of stuff. We're seeing that, of course, right now. During the month of August with the UP Big Boy. Just I get pictures and videos from folks every day of that thing. Just beautiful, beautiful stuff. And I'm really sorry I wasn't able to get out and see that. Especially it was just in the world last week. So anyway.
Yeah, no, that's like one of the last steam engines made, is the UP Big Boy. I'm not sure when it was built, but I'm thinking maybe in the 30s or whatnot. But that was the technology. That was the best technology as far as, as far as the steam.
And so much more spectacular than almost every other operating steam locomotive in existence right now. From what I've seen of it, just a massive piece of machinery that those guys at Union Pacific have brought back to life, and just really, really remarkable. They've been doing that in Florida too. U.S. Sugar has already done that with one of their old locomotives.
Oh yeah,
Steam locomotives.
yeah, you did a video on that. That's a good video.
They have now acquired the CSX locomotive that was in front of the Prime Osborne Convention Center in Jacksonville. It's at their years, just what I call stuffed and mounted, in a museum display in the parking lot. I can't remember the number. I'm not gonna give the number, because that'll be incorrect if I do. But it was an old Atlantic coastline. I want to say it was an Atlantic. I don't know. I'm not a steam locomotive aficionado, so I hate to toss out these terms and stuff when I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, they've acquired that locomotive, and U.S. Sugar has, and they have hired a company to completely restore it to working order. And they're going to include that in their tourist operation down there in South Florida, and that's going to be extremely exciting to see.
Oh yeah, I remember the video you did on that, and it's funny how the steam locomotives pulling freight, pulling sugar cars, which is usually if you see a steam locomotive, it's pulling passenger cars, it's pulling people, but not. That was funny how that was still technically working. They were running it to run it, but I believe they were running just their product, right?
Yeah, that was the one I'm talking about is the ACL 1504, which was a 462 Pacific locomotive. I called it the Atlantic, and I think I remember the Atlantic coastline, but it was a Pacific type locomotive, and it was, I guess, primarily for Atlantic coastline's fast passenger service. So that's what you see those things at. It's a classic steam locomotive look. I mean, it's the one that Lionel used for years for their steam engine model. It's the type, and just very, very cool. I just can't wait to see this thing rolling. There was a group in Jacksonville that for years, an historical group. I think they were the locomotive, National Locomotive Historical Society. Am I getting that right? They were trying to raise money to get it restored and put it, back on the rails and stuff. And that kind of stuff for a non-profit group that's a huge undertaking. You have to have somebody. You've got to have a real big benefactor involved, and I don't think they could ever quite get that together. But they have, and they wanted to, and then you got to have a place to run it, and it's unlikely that CSX would have permitted that on their rails or no place other. I think what U.S. Sugar is doing with it is the most viable solution for that locomotive.
It's
FNW Solutions, Davidson Ward and his group are going to handle much of the restoration. I don't know if you're familiar with FNW. They're out of Duluth, Minnesota.
Right.
They do a spectacular job on these things. They did that old FEC steam locomotive for U.S. Sugar back last year. Really, really good work.
You can see a lot of people taking interest in the steam, and just by watching the documentary you narrated, and then there was one, the one you did a few years ago. I rewatched that about 2 or 3 times. It's, oh my God, what they had to do just to get it across the tracks, to get it from point to point. And that was a really, really good documentary. We did talk about that before. Can you just touch on that documentary you made? Because that was like almost a 2-hour documentary, and it was fascinating.
Are you talking about the one called And Then There Was One?
Yeah, the 2-hour documentary you did about that was fascinating. That's what got me listening to you. Is I happened upon that, and then I just followed it from there, followed you from there.
Well, I gotta confess, I'm flying under false colors talking about that because that was my friend Evan Loftback's production.
Right, but you narrated it though.
I did the narration.
Yeah, but that was awesome.
He sent me the script, and I read it and sent it back to him. But you're right, that was a fabulous undertaking, not only by the people who took to move and restore that locomotive, but Evan himself, and all the time and driving and the pains he went to document that whole thing. It's just stunning. I was so impressed when I saw the finished product of that. You have to remember, I just got the script from him, in pieces, and narrated it as he was going along. And I never saw any of this video until the whole thing was done. He just
I mean, he really knocked it out of the park on that one.
You know,
And I do get a lot of questions about that documentary and stuff, and I just have to defer to Evan.
right. No.
Because he was the man involved in that.
Yeah, but I mean the narration is on. Joey, what'd you say, Joey?
2 minutes before a commercial break.
Yeah, we do 2 minutes. You got any questions to that? Joey?
Well, I do have a comment about what we have been able to see when it comes to rail this summer. But I'm gonna talk about that after the commercial break. I'll let you guys finish a little the conversation you guys are having now.
Yeah, just there's one thing about as far as documentaries. They don't keep you. Documentaries, depending on how they were presented and how they're narrated. Okay, I watch a lot, and some put me to sleep. Some like, oh my God, I sit for it. And but that was like a mystery because you never knew, just what's gonna happen now. Now it's not working. The engine went, and now it's sad. And then it just the way it was presented was like I couldn't put it down. It's like one of those documentaries. I'm sitting there. I work all day, and I'm kind of tired, but I couldn't put it down. It's like a book you can't put down.
That's the key to any good storytelling is keeping the viewer or reader engaged.
Right.
The whole way through and say, you've seen how we did this, but wait till you see what happens next. No one saw that coming, and that kind of language, that kind of writing, and that's what Evan did. He did so well, and I agree because a lot of these railroad videos like this are just here's this happening. Now here's this happening.
Right.
Here's this next thing happening. It does get monotonous after a while.
Right.
He did a great job of bringing you through the story and creating like you say, creating a mystery and engaging the viewer. I wish he would do more of that kind of stuff. To tell you the truth.
And the cast of characters too, of all the different people that were with it over the years. It's just now you fell in love with the characters too. So it's a true story, in my opinion, and I really think you guys should push that on PBS or something like that, or something more national, because I think that would be that'd be something. I mean, I know YouTube's kind of taken everything over as far as anything, but I mean that's national. That was such a good piece of work with you and him and everyone else. But I think Joey's giving me the hairy eyeball over there. Commercial break.
Yeah, we do have to quickly take a commercial break, but when we return, we're going to talk a little bit about what me and Dawn have seen with rail over the past couple of months, and we're going to talk a little bit about Folkestone as well, because we've been to Folkestone, and Folkestone is a really fun place to go, and Danny's been there several times as well, so we'll talk to Danny about Folkestone, Georgia as well. So we'll be right back with Danny and Middleboro in review. We'll be right back, everybody. There you go. Now we're good to go.
Is he still on?
And Danny, you there? All right, sounds good. All right.
Any more trips planned, Danny? Any more trips planned? Any more rail trips planned? So,
On a video right now about auto train.
Oh.
And that's requiring my driving back and forth from here to Sanford, which is about an hour and a half.
Right.
So I don't have any big long trips planned right now. We've done some traveling over the summer. We just got back from North Georgia back last night. A whole vacation we took at a resort up there, and that was fun. I got a chance to scope out some oil fanning places up there, but I didn't shoot anything.
Oh, that's good.
I want to start planning some cross-country trips for 2022.
Right.
I hope to take at least 3 trips in 2022. I want to get up to Chicago and that area. I would like to get out west. Have really zeroed in on a spot there. I get so much email from different places. Well, you got to come see this. You got to come see that, and all that's just wonderful. So I'm trying to
Right.
Gotta learn to fly and carry my gear.
Yeah. You got a lot of gear to schlep around. We'd say. I mean, if you got to do all the filming. Yeah, you got a
Yeah,
lot.
it's funny because you start traveling with a video camera, you can pack up a suitcase and all the stuff that goes with it. But you bring it. I have a pretty sizable tripod that I use.
Yeah.
And that changes the whole aspect of the thing. You have to get a scanner, that's programmed to the area where you're working.
Right.
And, so there's just those little aspects of it that I don't have much experience at yet because most of my stuff is driving road trip stuff. So.
What about the Northeast Corridor? Have you thinking about doing that, heading up this part of town?
Yeah, I'm still afraid of the Northeast right now because of COVID and all of the restrictions.
Right.
I'd love to get on the Northeast Corridor because I've got a list of places that people have told me about.
Oh yeah.
Up there, and I would love to get up there and do all that. I'd love to see some of the hand track stuff. Want to see what is it, Sunnyside Yard up there?
Yeah, New York. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to get in there and see that.
Well, if you waited out another year, I think East Coast Access is going to be open. You know what that is, right?
What is it again?
East Coast Access, the Long Island Railroad going into the Grand Central. They've been working on that for 15 years. The new tunnel and stuff.
I wasn't aware of that.
You never knew about? Yeah, go on. Actually, take that on YouTube. They've been talking about that for. Yeah.
Got about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh yeah, East Side Access. They tunneled in from Sunnyside Yard technically, and they went into Manhattan, and they go in Grand Central, and it's underneath Grand Central. It's just almost, I don't know, they're talking almost 10 stories underneath the original footprint of Grand Central. Yeah.
So that will be to connect Long Island Railroad?
With Grand Central, yeah.
I'm just making the notes here.
Yeah. Actually, you come up, I'll give you the grand tour. I'll show you places you've never seen up here. I know.
Well, I would need your help, so
Yeah.
that would be awesome. I'll see if I can't be sure to give
Right.
your
We're ready to go back on, Danny.
All right, we're ready to go back on in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are back here on Middleboro in Review. It is the 29th of August, 2021. We are back here on the air with Dawn and with Danny. So, it is the end of August. And we've got about 3 or 4 more weeks left of summer. Still a lot.
Really?
Yep.
Danny Harmon.
Danny
Say his
Harmon.
name.
Yeah. Good morning, Danny Harmon.
Yeah, Harmon.
Did I say
You
it
just
wrong
said
again?
Danny. You gotta say his last
Danny
name.
Harmon. Sorry about that.
You called him Hartman last time.
I did. I
Okay.
I'm not gonna do that again.
It's Harmon. No.
Yeah.
He corrected you fast.
Yes. So.
We like to joke around on the air.
Yes.
too, Danny, so. Yeah.
All right, so we had a lot of interesting stuff in our neck of the woods with rail. Me and Dawn, a couple of weeks ago, we went to Pennsylvania, and on the way back from Pennsylvania, we got a chance to see a coal train. Right, Dawn?
Yeah, Frederickstown, Pennsylvania, which is on Route 88, and it was Norfolk Southern coal train, and it was pretty long. It was if you familiar with that part of Western Pennsylvania, that's a big coal country, and it was I don't know, I didn't count how many office, but there was a lot, and every one of them were full. So they're still running coal pretty much, I think. I know they're cutting back on it a little bit, but when we stayed, we heard a lot of trains. We're in Monongahela River. That's how I pronounce it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's pretty much, there's a rail line running pretty much from almost Morgantown all the way to Pittsburgh. And Route 88 is pretty famous for Western PA standards. But it's interesting just to see something from, you know, Norfolk Southern Country anyway, for sure. So.
It's funny to hear any rail fan today say we've got to see a coal train, because when I really first started getting my stride rail fanning in the mid-1990s and started ranging out to places, you know, out away from my home, that's all you saw. I mean, that was the only thing you saw, you know, in any kind of numbers, coal train. And I remember being folks that, you know, I saw the folks that up there and the rail fans looking at, oh, we got a train coming, but it's just another coal train.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, but now they are few and far between. There's not too many coal trains left out there. You know, as far as the what they call the thermal coal, the power plant coal, those are, you know, of course, those are dwindling. But the metallurgical coal, that's pulling out of part of Pennsylvania, you guys were in, they're still digging a lot of that, because they still have to make steel with that stuff. And
right.
so fortunately, those will be around for a while, I think.
Yeah, they're probably mostly local, but every week, like 2 days, you know, we were staying at a friend's house. We heard 2 trains a day, you know, for sure, across the river. And it's funny how I live like in a flat area too, in southeastern Mass. So, but you start going into the mountains, and you can hear those trains running through the valleys. You know, you can hear them, I don't know, so far back. It's different. You know, it wakes up at night. It's great. It's a nice sound to hear that. And also, too, not to get off track, too, but there's a steam train line in Connecticut. It's in Essex, Connecticut. Essex steam train, and they still run, you know, steam trains up along the Connecticut River. And to hear a steam whistle in like a hill valley is something that no one's ever heard before, unless you go to that point. It's something you
can imagine what that's like, you know, on a quiet afternoon.
Oh, yes.
We're listening to that from several miles out, and that steam whistle echoing through the valley.
Right.
That just gives me chills to think about.
Oh, because it's, you know, it's not mountains, but it's rolling hills too. You know, it's not flat, and it's a big difference, I think, just from listening to the trains in Western Pennsylvania. It gives you that feeling that sound you're not gonna hear anymore. It's a sound of yesteryear. It's kind of a soothing sound if you can, figure out what I'm talking about now.
I agree 100%. I agree. It's just nothing in the world like it.
Right. Joe, any thoughts about South Coast Access or South Coast Rail?
Yeah, so South Coast Rail is another big project that we're doing down here in the Taunton and Middleboro areas of Massachusetts. It's going to be massive. It's really 2 big projects, actually, that are going on. The South Coast Rail, which is going to be from Fall River to Boston and some other areas as well. And then in the city and surrounding areas in the city, there's the Green Line. And the Green Line is being extended as well. So there's a lot of interesting things going on with rail down here, up here, not down there, not down here.
You say that a lot.
I say that a lot. Yes, it's becoming a running thing here. Up here in Massachusetts, there's a lot going on with rail.
And we're about 40 miles outside Boston. If you look at Providence, okay, that's the Northeast Corridor, okay, and then you go north of Providence on the Northeast Corridor, you're in the town of Attleboro, and if you it branches off west, and there's a CSX line that takes you to Taunton, and that line is the connector to pretty much Norton, Taunton, and then it splits and heads down to Fall River, New Bedford, and then to Middleboro, and then there's the commuter rail tracks that take you through Bridgewater, Whitman, Brockton, that way. So we're kind of like, if you look at a map in Providence, we're kind of like, I don't know, Taunton's about maybe 20 miles northeast of Providence. We're kind of nestled in that area. That's our area. Really, just one track goes through here. It's effectively a freight line that it goes through, but the commuter lines will be running from South Station, and they got to be junctioning off at a place called Myrick's Junction, which is in the town of Berkeley, and one line goes to Fall River, which terminates down at the Massachusetts Battleship Cove, and the other one is going to be terminated almost at the terminal at New Bedford, where the ferry or the dock is or whatnot. So they're definitely dead end. They're definitely dead end lines. So if you just go on Google Maps and look around, you'll see it. But we don't have the freight business you guys have up there. But Providence Worcester Railroad's a pretty good sized freight company railroad that goes from Providence to Worcester. Yeah, they got CSX, Pan Am, Bay Colony, and there's one other ones that, they got short lines that run rubbish trains and stuff over the Cape Cod Canal. And in the summer months, the commuter rail runs a train to Hyannis from South Station.
Is that Conrail trackage up there, or is that what that was?
I think so, yeah, from years ago, yes, it was a little longer.
Okay. And CSX has made this big deal now to acquire the Pan Am railway.
Yeah, that's mostly up New Hampshire, Northern Mass. Yeah, and pretty much up west of, I call it the Hoosick Tunnel line almost, because if you've ever heard of the Hoosick Tunnel, you ever heard of the Hoosick Tunnel in Florida, Massachusetts? Yeah. There's some documentaries on that, which are pretty interesting. So, but that's all Pan Am, that line north. We got the southern lines, Boston, Maine. Not Boston. No, Boston, Maine is pretty much headed north, but I think this was the Boston Albany, the old Boston Albany runs the Amtrak line, which runs through Worcester, Springfield, and then up over the Berkshires. And another town you should check out is Chester, Massachusetts. They used to have an old roundhouse there. Because that was the first mountain railroad in the world, was that line going through Chester, right, Joe?
Yes, and in New Hampshire, there's the Mount Washington Cog Railway as well, which actually we happen to have today in history about. It actually opened on this day in 1869, August 29th, 1869.
Yeah, that's something else too. That's not connected to anything. That's a narrow gauge railroad. That's French railroad. But they have the Conway Scenic Railroad, which they have run some steam and but you can read up on some of the stuff up here. There's a lot going on up here. If you come up here, give yourself some time, because you're not going to want to go home again.
Well, I really want to get up there and do that. That whole area, and I think you convinced me to make that one of my 3 trips next year instead of maybe the Midwest. Maybe I'll come up to the Northeast, because it sounds like there's a ton of stuff, and I really want to do some investigating on this Pan Am deal, because that was kind of that's a short line, or I guess a regional, right?
Yeah.
CSX, they don't do anything without looking over the horizon and at something that they think is going to be happening.
Right.
So there's a reason they bought that railroad, other than just the business that it has on it right now at this point. So,
as far as points west, that's the northern leg that goes up through Fitchburg, Gardner, all those towns there, and then runs up to the northern Berkshires and technically goes through the Hoosick Tunnel. So that's the north tier rail line, and the southern tier is pretty much the one that goes through the main Amtrak line. That's the runs from South Station. So it's pretty much 2 that run through. But there's another place called Palmer, Mass, which is another big rail fan place. So in Chester, Mass, too, they have So they have plenty of them here, and it's growing. And one other thing I want to ask you, we got to do a break again, Joey, or 5 minutes? What do you think?
About 6 or 7 minutes
Okay.
from now.
I watch your videos, and the reason I like your videos is because you're professional. The way you do it, it's professional. It's you do your homework. You're a good narrator, announcer. You're really good. It's crisp. It's Amber Gold. Your voice is Amber Gold. A friend of mine said, and she's in the radio business. All right. Okay, so that's what she said. Amber Gold. So. Yeah, this is from somebody who works in the radio business, so I mean, that's pretty good. So you see these other people doing videos too, other rail videos and stuff. Have you been noticing them or something like that? Have you been checking to see what your competition is out there? Because I think a lot of people, after they saw you, everyone wants to start a rail video, network now. Have you seen any of it?
I have. I get a lot of people who write me using email, and they'll put a link to their YouTube site. I'm trying to do this myself,
Right.
and I'd like to get your opinion. And whenever I can, I get those links and go to those things. And there's quite a few folks out there now that are doing stuff the way I do it, and it's a real flattering thing to me.
Right. Right.
That they're trying to emulate my work.
But they don't do it as good. They don't do it as good as you, though. I mean, there's one guy out there who, I mean, he's good, but he doesn't come close to you. No one comes close as far as everything. There's a guy out there. His name's Jawtooth. Okay, and he's out there in like the Ohio area. Yeah, he gets a lot of good footage.
It's really good. I watch his stuff all the time.
And then there's another guy on there which I hate. Joey's seen, but the guy he just does profanity. He just screams and swears. He hates New York. He hates the Pennsylvania Railroad. Loves the New York Central. You see that clown? Have you seen that clown? That guy. Yeah, okay. I mean, everyone's just putting their little bit to it to get. Maybe people like listening to that. I listen because I want to see what the guy says, but I turn him off. I said, "This guy's a clown." So I mean, there's just so much of it now. The spectrum is just so wide now as far as. But I think you revolutionized this. I can't even say it. Revolutionized the video in that aspect, because before that you'd see people doing it like on their own with their phone, but I think you're the one who pretty much put the video and the documentary part into rail thing, as far as I can tell. And I look around. I'm on YouTube all the time, and I haven't seen anything of it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Don, because and to be honest, I had a head start on just about everybody else.
No, you're right.
YouTube, because I've been in broadcasting for now 40 years.
Right.
TV broadcasting. I was in radio for 3 years before that.
Right.
I've been in TV broadcasting, so I've had a long education on how to do this stuff. And the advent of the desktop editing system, the Final Cut Pro and the iMacs and the laptops and the smaller cameras and stuff, that just really allowed me to do this stuff, in ways that you couldn't do it before.
Right.
And so I've kind of had a head start on most other folks in doing that kind of stuff.
No, I understand that, but I mean, it's what I look at. Joey, you give me dirty looks again over there?
No, we got about 2 or 3 minutes. We're good. You're good.
Yeah, all right. But it's just the professionalism, and I just hope more people, they do it, they follow your lead, because that guy, that profanity-laced guy, he's just a clown, in my opinion. I don't know. The video isn't good. He just swears, and I always wonder.
Everybody's got a style. Everybody's got a shtick.
Wow, that's his exactly. That's his shtick. Exactly. He
It works. We've got a guy down that lives in our area, and his channel is called Millennium Force, and he's also a roller coaster fan, and he does a lot of real cute, train videos that are kind of oriented towards kids. He does a lot of funny antics and stuff, and some of it's a little bit dangerous, but overall he does this funny stuff that's for kids. He has a lot more subscribers and viewers than I because of that. But like everybody's got their own thing. Sure, and that's the great thing about YouTube. You can just find a gamut.
Right.
I'm just happy that folks are finding my channel now.
Well, I consider your videos. Obviously, you have the experience from all your work in the past as far as TV and radio. But as far as top-notch documentaries that will be on top-notch channels, that's I watch a lot of documentaries. That's all I've ever done, and I watch a lot of real life documentaries, even in the 80s and 90s. When I had to go watch it on AE or Discovery Channel or History, and
You're probably like me, I used to buy all those Pentrax videos, the stuff from Hair on Rail Video, and Green Frog. I had a whole shelf full of bookcase full of VHS train videos.
Right.
And, I learned a lot of what I do now from those guys who really plowed the ground for those of us in the industry or the avocation now.
Okay. Dan, we're going to take one more break. Can you stay on with us? And when we're done, I think Joey wants to ask you the final question.
Yeah, so when we come back, we'll finish up with Danny. We'll ask him what he's got going on
Danny Harmon.
Danny Harmon, yep.
Okay, just say, so you're going to say it 100 times in front of the mirror tomorrow. Okay?
Danny Harmon, we're going to finish up with you when we come back. We're going to talk about what's going on for 2021, the rest of 2021. We got 3 months left, and what's coming up for next year as well. So when we return, we'll talk for the last couple of minutes with Danny Harmon, and yeah, we'll be right back. All right.
The hour goes pretty fast around here with you on the phone, Danny.
It does go fast.
Gee.
Talk about this stuff all day. So.
Well, if you're up here on a Sunday and you want to come and come and meet us at the station, we'll love to have you live. That'd be awesome. It's a lot better live than.
Gosh, that would be fun.
Oh yeah, bring a script, whatever you want to do. Yeah. You know, and Joey's on Thursdays too in the morning. So if you're not around on a Sunday, he's usually around on a Thursday too. He does another show, Middleboro Matters. So you know, but what we'll do for you is we're gonna start researching the Pan Am lines for you. We'll set up north and we'll do, and then I'll have Joey send you some email clips or whatever. Is that all right?
That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing like experience and reconnaissance from the ground.
Yeah. No.
You can look at all the Google Maps and read the Facebook posts and all that stuff, but you don't get it like you do from people who are up close to it on the ground.
Right. Yeah. No.
That was one thing you were talking about when we were talking about rail banning and in the changes in it. Google Maps, I think, has been one of the greatest tools for scouting territory that you've never seen before. Because I've found so many shots in places, right here where I live here in Florida, that I never would have found if I had researched it on Google Maps. Looking down the line, said, wait, there's a bridge there. And then you see a little road and stuff, and you think, well, shoot, I could drive up this little road as long as it doesn't have a gate and a chain across it. Hopefully not get shot by some landowner, but
right.
Yeah. That's what my friend, he's in North Florida. He's kind of a country guy. You guys would call him a redneck probably, but when Garmin first came out with its mobile GPS, 15 years ago, however long ago that was, and we all had those Garmin GPSs. And he said, well, you know what GPS stands for, don't you? And I said, little positioning said, gets people shot. All of the roads and stuff that we were all going up that we never knew were there.
Yeah. But I think the old nose had, served you well before GPS, and I'm sure you have it. Sometimes the old nose has something to do with, and because I still look at maps a lot too. I keep an eye. Yeah.
Keep that Delorme atlas.
Yeah. No.
I've got them for all the southern states now.
Yeah.
And I still get them every year because, they're just, those are the Bible as far as navigation.
Sure.
Around.
They always have been.
I don't leave the house without the Delorme map and railroad timetables.
1 minute.
I
Right.
have 3 ring binders that I, make notes and
Yeah.
documents in different places and any kind of maps or timetable or
Anything that could be erased, in my opinion, as far as the internet, because they can do a lot of that. What they can do with the internet to shut people down and even erase stuff, worries me. So you always got to have paper backup. That's my opinion. You always got to have paper backup.
30 seconds.
All right.
okay. Yeah, one of these days we're going to find out the hard way. I hope that day never comes, but that somebody's going to get a hold of our internet, shut it down.
Right.
That's going to be a dark, dark day.
Yeah.
People realize they've been relying on this service that,
Can be taken away from you.
has some penalties.
All right.
Yep, about 15 seconds. Danny, real quick, I just want to let you know, if any of your listeners are listening to this show, it's going to be replayed, most likely. I am taking a week off on the 12th of September, which is a Sunday. I will be replaying this particular program.
Okay, great. More the better.
All right, 5 seconds here. Let me just get everything back up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and we're back here on Middleboro in Review. It is the 29th of August. And we're finishing up here with Danny Harmon. So, with the final couple of minutes we have, just want to talk a little bit about what's coming up for Distant Signals, the YouTube channel, for the next 6 months.
Well, down to a friend of mine holds, I don't know. I'm sorry?
Oh, nope, you're good. Go ahead.
That was just background. Anyway, I went to an event that a friend of mine kind of holds every year. It's a little gathering of rail fans and kind of go out for the day, and he gives us a tour of his area. So I shot enough video to make a video out of that. That'll be in the North Georgia area. I'm also working on one about auto train. Now, it won't be a Ford auto train, but it's just what they do when they get to their yard in Sanford. So I'm working on that. Hopefully that'll be the next few weeks I get that done. The biggest complaint I get on my channel is not so much about the videos themselves, it's about the lack of videos that I have. I'm only able to get out about one of these a month. But I do the best I can and produce whenever I can. So folks will give me a break for that.
Well, I think you've been doing a good job and whatnot. Joey, what's with the levels there?
Yeah, it's good. We're good.
But I think you've done a real good job. And one thing I don't notice is it doesn't seem like you ask for money. Like a lot of these places, Patreon and all these different YouTube channels are looking for money. I notice you don't. What's the difference between all that? I mean,
Yeah, I haven't had to do that yet. There is a little bit of revenue that comes from YouTube when you have a certain number of views on videos and stuff, but I haven't really had to do that because, just by virtue of my situation, I see why a lot of people do that, to try and, either cover costs or make a little money on it. Now, that's not to say I might not do this down the line, but I don't want to get to the point where you have to subscribe in order to see my videos or have to, subscribe to see the VIP version.
right.
Any of that stuff. If I ever do Patreon or one of those things, it would just it'll just be like a donation basis,
Yeah.
Send me some money if you want, don't, if you don't. But I ran into a fellow in Folkestone, Georgia back at last Rail Watch, and he said, you really should be on Patreon, you really should be doing this, you could make a lot of money. And I'm just not to that point yet. I'd rather keep doing it the way I'm doing it right now.
Well, you're working still, right? You're still working, right?
Yeah, I'm still working a 9 to 5.
Yeah, so, I don't know. It seems like it works for you. And I just think you're really getting a lot of, I don't know, I noticed you. And I think you have a professional product. So, I like a professional product. Yes.
All right, it's 8 o'clock. I want to thank you, Danny Harmon, for calling in today. It was a lot of fun. Talked a lot about great topics. Again, your YouTube channel is Distant Signals. If anyone wants to check it out, go on YouTube, Distant Signals.
Or type in Real Fan Danny. It should pop up. It will pop up because I watch it a lot, so maybe it won't. So distantsignal.com, YouTube, and you'll find all his work, and it's fascinating if you like anything about trans. Joey?
Thanks for having me, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Don't hang up yet. Just can you stay on the real quick, Danny? On the phone?
Sure.
All right.
All right, let's really quick do our today in history. So, we have 1778, American Revolutionary War. British and American forces battle indecisively at the Battle of Rhode Island. 1786, Shays' Rebellion, an armed uprising of Massachusetts farmers, begins in response to high debt and tax burdens. 1869, the one we mentioned earlier, the Mount Washington Cloud Railway opens on this day in 1869. And 1966, the Beatles performed their last concert at Candlestick Park, the old Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And on this day, 16 years ago, Hurricane Katrina devastates much of the Gulf Coast from Louisiana to Florida, causing $125 billion in damage and killing up to 1,836 people. Birthdays: John Locke, the English physician and philosopher, on this day in 1632. 1936, John McCain. 1958, Michael Jackson. And deaths on this day: the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka, the original Willy Wonka. Gene Wilder passed away 5 years ago today. Thank you, everyone, for listening to today's program. We will be back next week, the 5th of September. Have a great week, everybody.